So the reason I picked this film, or just
Oh,
sorry,
hang on.
What a succinct opening.
Oh, yeah.
Emmanuel, why did you pick this
She
film?
picked this film, yeah.
Thank you. Can't break tradition. So originally, yeah, I was thinking to pick Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. I think after a conversation we had, or Rob was talking about some stuff or whatnot, and I was like, oh yeah, I should pick that. And I think Rob was saying, yeah, we should pick that and Cool Runnings as well. It's just like, oh yeah, they're two great films, like great films of John Candy's as well. So it's like, oh, we should pick them. And then after you pick, obviously, Plane, Trains, and whatnot.
And whatnot.
There's one too many syllables, man.
Planes, trains, and etc.
we yeah, I was just like, oh wait, I didn't realize it was my pick, but also, yeah, this makes a perfect kind of like, not really double, it's kind of like a double bill, John Candy double bill. And the two films would pick anyway. So yeah, I was just like, you know what, it's time, let me pick Cool Runnings, or for any, is it Norway, Norwegian people, Cold Buttocks, or
Is that really what it was called?
in, I think, France, Rasta Rocket. And yes, it was called Cold Buttocks, and I think in Norway.
Yeah, but Rasta Rocket is actually a pretty awesome name, actually.
Rastaman.
With like a dog's penis.
It actually has something to do.
What?
Red Rocket.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh no.
You're
I
welcome.
I think the opening statement for me to be for this film is, I've seen it a lot growing up. I think there's a lot of households with like Jamaican descent or heritage or whatnot. Or
It's a Jamaican bobsleigh teams.
Huh?
There's a lot of households with Jamaican bobsleigh teams.
No, not with bobsleigh teams, but but yeah, like Caribbean descent in general, that would have played this film multiple times while we were growing up in the 90s, or too many times. Um, I think, yeah, growing up, I've seen this film quite a few times, and I was worried whether I would still enjoy it, since I know I'm not the biggest fan of watching things again. But I had a great time. I enjoyed it the whole way through. I wasn't on my phone. Besides to check out some actor's name like Yul Brynner, it's like, I swear, yes, it's that.
Who's this Yul Brynner?
I told you he was in Magnificent Seven.
Yeah. That's such a good callback.
Yeah, but yeah, so great film. I think it's one of those kind of classics, especially, I think, to personal memories. And yeah, glad I could pick it for you.
So, Ben, why did you tank it?
It's good. It's still a pet score.
Oh,
It's
you tanked
eight
it because
out
it was good. Okay.
Why did you tank it, Alec?
Yeah.
I didn't tank it. I scored it higher than Ben did. I gave it an 8.3 out of 10.
This is why number scores are. I do agree with John with this.
We can all write an essay if you wanted.
No, it's all good. So,
It's good, don't worry about that.
We need not to be hasty.
Yeah, number scores, alphabet scores, whatever you want to score it, that's all fine with me. I had actually, compared to some of you guys, I hadn't actually seen Cool Runnings before. It's one of those films that kind of passed me by. But I had known of its existence, and it's known like this cult classic and such, and like but it has an undeniable charm. Even if it is a little bit dated, I think that's what makes it great, is because of it's set in this time period, and it's so distinctively like got so much charm and heart to it. And I think what I liked about it, and what's probably a reason why Emmanuel and a lot of other people love it so much, is because it's just like the ultimate underdog story. And these kids in it that you kind of are introduced to very gradually. You kind of aren't really sure of them at first. You kind of like them for the like some of them more than others, but you're not sure if you kind of get where they're coming from. But as the film goes on, it kind of I think seems to coalesce a bit, and you just begin to kind of like warm to them really, really quickly, and you're rooting for them to succeed. And the whole thing is just like got gentle humor. It's just you could say it's very kind of by the numbers, kind of like a sports drama thing. But I think that's its strength. Its strength is that it doesn't need to be anything else, because the story itself is just so wholesome anyway, and it doesn't really need to dress itself up. It doesn't need to be too over the top. They didn't need to change anything too much, and I think it's important that you can see them going on this journey. They don't really succeed or win at the end, but at the same time, they still completed their goal. They still managed to do everything. So it ticks all those boxes, and it makes you give you the warm and fuzzies, as you could say, like all good classic Disney movies of the 90s would do. It just has this like, yeah, it's hard to pin down on, but maybe I would have really loved it if I did grow up with it, but I can totally get why people love it so much.
How much did it remind you of Pee-wee?
Not much. It reminded me more of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air actually than Pee-wee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with a little bit
better.
of Rocky thrown in and a little bit of Eddie the Eagle. All those great, like, and ultimate underdog stories, and it just yeah, I really liked it. Yeah, who's next?
Question for Emmanuel though. Did you watch this did you have a VHS version of this and you watched it on like repeat?
Oh, he doesn't like rewatching films.
Yeah, it would have been VHS at that time, growing up in the 90s. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
So you actually okay. So I was thinking if this was like your film that you just had put on because it's like, oh, there's nothing to do for an hour and a half. I just put on Cool Runnings on VHS and watch that. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think it was.
I don't think you thought I'm going to put on Cool Runnings on VHS at the time. I think you just thought I'll put on Cool Runnings.
Yeah. Okay.
Put the video in.
It would have been more our parents, because we were all around, except Alec. We were all around about 3 years old when this film came out.
Yeah, that's true. It was 1993 it came out.
So
Yeah, I was just born.
who were rewatching it at least like once a year, and then we were for the ride.
Nice. I know. I was just thinking because I think, like Ben, I was probably the only other person who hasn't watched it like a lot. I think I watched it like once when I was very young. I completely forgot about the story, and and I was like, oh wait, I remember that like with those four guys like shaking around in like the bathtub scene. I was like, that's weird. I just can't. I was like, oh yeah. That's from this movie, because I've seen there's like memes and image gifs of that now, but it's like the same as then. Watching this film now and as an adult is a bit is a very Disney film, right? I don't know how else to explain it, because like being a Disney live action film, I think I gave acting score the lowest out of everyone here. And I was like, I watched it and I was like, some of the characters are very cartoonies, and I think that plays well into who they are. With like, I would like to say Sanka, is that his name? Or I can't remember his name. Yeah, with Sanka and stuff. And I was like, that fits perfectly. But you have the other guys, like you have like Junior and not Rice. Who's the other? Who's the big buff dude?
Yul
Yul Brenner. For fuck's
You're
sake.
Oh, Brenner.
but with him, like it started off like he's got like a chip on his shoulder, and it was like he's supposed to have like it's supposed to be
A
like
chimp
a
on his
proper-
shoulder. I hate
Yeah,
having this chimp on my shoulder.
he has a chip on his shoulder, and it's like it's supposed to be like the tough guy, who has a dream better than this stinking island. But then afterwards, he showed the picture of Buckingham Palace, and I was like, I don't know. All the sort of character development that you had kind of just like fizzled away, and I'm like, oh no,
What?
it's like, because it's kind of like it's supposed to be like because you have Junior, who is pretty much a Disney princess because he's got like the dog sidekick and like the strict household, right? It's
Yeah, those are the key elements of a Disney princess. Just
a strict
pet
household
dog and strict household. Yeah.
and an animal sidekick. You're pretty much like 3 steps away there to be a Disney princess.
So,
But in any case, to shorten it out first, it's like the story is very Disney, and the characters are very cartoony, but that actually helps it because it is a Disney film. Obviously, as I think the guy who actually did the actual bobsled stuff was talking about, like the movie is like, yeah, about 1% of this story is like real life or correct, but
Yeah.
apart from that, like generally speaking, it's an all right movie. It's fine. It's a good movie. It's a Disney movie. All the catchphrases and shit that they made, that's all Disney. Nothing like that happened to us. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
fair enough. That's fair enough. So it's like it's a live action Disney film, and it's like, yeah, okay.
It's
That's
because like just to kind of add to that, it would have been so different had it not been done by Disney, but also if they hadn't like I guess made a lot of changes. And I'm not like necessarily like annoyed about like I don't think any of like the kind of major changes. But the first kind of thing, the first directors that were on it before the last one who got attached to it, it was much more serious drama film rather than comedic, which is interesting in itself. And then the accents as well. So one thing my wife was kind of mentioning was that how the main characters, their accents were ever so slightly off. And Junior's dad accent was pretty much spot on, but the rest of them were a bit different. And that was because Disney or like the execs and stuff, they was like, you have to sound more watered down and sound more similar to the crab from Little Mermaid. Otherwise,
oh, Sebastian.
yeah,
Need to sound more like the crab
Like
from the Little Mermaid.
literally, you have to sound like this, or we're firing the director.
What?
the fuck?
Why would they do that?
Oh
That's
my,
so strict for something so stupid.
yeah, because the actors really wanted to make it as authentic as possible. They're all of Jamaican heritage, but they're all like American born. But they wanted to like do their best in this role and kind of make it as authentic as possible as they could in their own way. And the director was all for it as well. But then the execs were just like, no, if you don't, buy. And he afterwards the director's like, I really want it to be please like let's try and change it a bit. Otherwise I don't want to get fired. Please.
That's so
That's
Disney.
nuts.
That's just like classic, like mass appeal at the cost of everything else.
Yeah. Because it's a real shame because I was like, when it first starts, you kind of like a bit like taken aback by the accents, but how strong and like caricatured they are. Like you say, it's like watching a live action cartoon because they're so like over the top and so like strong, the accent. And it's kind of like, well, I was gonna give it a lower acting score because I was like, I wasn't quite buying it, but now it's plain as day why they were like this because they've been forced to talk like this. And it's such a shame because they're probably far more talented actors than we give them credit for.
I must admit, the only accent that like jars me a little bit is Junior's dad, and it's just because he really sounds like Trevor McDonald. I see a scared little boy.
I'm scared of the butt.
Great. Oh man. Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah.
Bloody Disney.
sorry,
I'm
go on.
still confused why Yul Brynner not knowing what Buckingham Palace ruins his character.
Because he seems like it was supposed to be the more, if as Emmanuel says, it was supposed to be a bit more serious, a bit more dramatic. So his character should have been, as they were going for it, being more serious and dramatic.
You can be
I think
serious and mistaken.
Yeah, but then afterwards, all of his seriousness was just played off for essentially a joke. If you get what I mean,
man, because I think him being such like a strong, moody character beforehand, and then sort of getting some humility because he doesn't know that the Queen lives at Buckingham Palace and all that kind of stuff. Like that's kind of the point where he stops taking himself quite as seriously, and I think that's really nice.
but how to explain it?
Because I don't want to out myself, but there was one time when me and Ed were in London, and she was like, "God, it's always so touristy around here," and I was like, "Yeah, where are we?" And she went, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I went, "What?" She went, "It's Buckingham Palace, you twat." And I went, "Is it?"
I had that realization once when I was walking past Buckingham Palace, and it sort of pinged in my head that we live so close to it.
I guess now my character's been diminished.
Well, were you making it so that your whole point is that you're trying to get off your little island to go to Buckingham Palace and live there?
Well, no, but I can see why someone would.
Okay,
to
but
him,
like,
it's just a stately home, like it's just a goal to aspire to, isn't it?
okay, but like, I guess
Not literally Buckingham Palace. It's more like
he's
this
not.
is
He's not got an
place.
internet connection. It's 1988, so he's got like a little magazine, maybe, and that's kind of it.
I don't know how to. Okay.
Do not insult Yul Brynner in my presence.
If I put it this way, so technically, everyone actually this doesn't really change anything. I'll say it anyway. That was pointless. I was thinking everyone in America. Wait, not everyone. A lot of the founders in America were from England. That's where that show stopped. And I was just like, you know what? It doesn't really matter. But maybe thoughts from like old times and stuff, and then ended up with this card. It was just like, yes, this is what houses look like in I don't even know if he didn't realize that wasn't in America, did he?
No, I didn't. Well, that's the thing, though, isn't it? Because I suppose like there was a generation of people in the Caribbean who were like told the lie that in England everything's like that. Like it's.
You know what it's like, actually, if I can say, it reminds me of like American Tail, because you've got this whole point of like these might have led to believe this is a better place out there, and they've got this image of Statue of Liberty, and they think, oh, we need to go to America, and they think America, Statue of Liberty, the same thing. It's kind of like this generalization of what something is and something to aspire to and go to and become a part of. So I suppose Buckingham Palace in his mind is like that. It's just like this place. It's my observation.
Where my point, I understand what you guys try to say. Where my point is that that kind of thinking suddenly kind of like falls a bit flat is where it becomes used as a joke of like, yeah, I'm gonna make myself, because you're saying that it wasn't as beautiful as you imagined, or it wasn't as what he imagined as him becoming, you know, the whole reason that he had to become Olympian and try to be famous and stuff. Because afterwards, it's just pretty much used as, this is Buckingham Palace, man. It's like, and it's just like, oh yeah, everything that was so serious about him became less serious, which is not in itself a problem because of, like, again, Disney movie, but it's just like, it just kind of, I feel like the drop was a bit too sudden to me. But and that's maybe that's just my opinion on it, and I can't say if you guys don't think about it because you're just making a face, and it's just like I feel like I don't know.
I genuinely don't understand what you mean. But, all right.
I reckon it probably is like a callback to what I was saying, because like when the Commonwealth was still a thing, like there was like an idea that everything in England was better and all the houses were huge and like the streets were paved with gold and that kind of thing. And then when Caribbean people started moving to the UK, like it sort of got
They
perpetuated
realised it was
a bit.
shit.
Well, no, it's not even that simple, because it's like it kind of got perpetuated a bit because people were so embarrassed about how shit it was that they wouldn't tell people back in the Caribbean that they were wrong. So it's like it probably is some kind of callback to that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, quite fascinating, because it's kind of like they don't want to admit to it because they still kind of like want to believe themselves that this is still a better option and a better choice.
It's that thing of like realizing that you've sort of been taken in on a bit of a scam, isn't it? Like it's.
Yeah, sure. Next person. Who else hasn't had it?
I reckon I'd probably watched this first when I was like 12 or 13 or something like that. I think I rented it from Blockbuster because it was like, I mean, I've spoken about this so many times, but like something that I still love doing now is just getting a pizza and like drawing the curtains and watching a film. And I remember renting this from Blockbuster after getting a pizza from Pizza Hut. And yeah, I don't know, it's just really wholesome, isn't it? Like I think John Candy's somebody that I always love, like no matter what he does. And I think like the whole thing about it's sort of like his redemption, but it's also them beating the odds and all of that. Like it's everything that you need to feel good, isn't it? But I think as I've gotten older, the thing that I really love about it is the comedy, because there's so many things where like it feels like stuff that we could have written, and it really gets me. Like just small things like when they're trying to raise money and then they all come back around the table and like they've hardly got anything and they're like, Sanka, how did the singing go? And he's like, well, it went like this. Enough people say, it's just like I love how silly it is. I think like
to be fair, I could see that. I was like, I could see that happening. Like 5 of us would be like, well, we've got this amount, and then a big bag of money, and it's like, there we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just I suppose it's the four of them, like the way that they interact with one another. I think it's really really sweet. Like it is a bit of a light touch, and I suppose like whether it does justice to the actual story or not is a conversation to have. But in terms of like a feel good sports movie, that's why I thought you'd love it so much, Pat, because it's like I don't know, like it's all about coming together as a team and finishing what you've started, whether it means you end up last or not. Like, I think that's really nice. When
Yeah.
when you picked it, Emmanuel, so what you were saying about a lot of like Jamaican households watching it a lot and that kind of thing, like when me and Rachel were watching it, she took a picture of the TV and she sent it to her family WhatsApp group. And they were all like, yes, finally, 10 out of 10 on everything.
That's my wife did as well. She did the exact same thing. And then I did well. So we both did that.
It's like
the credits.
I think that this and Major Payne are like their family favourite films.
Major Payne.
Major Payne. Yeah, it's a Marlon Wayans film.
Ah, I don't know that one.
It's not as good as this.
No. You kind of said that already when you said it's a Marlon Wayans film.
But yeah, man, I love how silly it is, and I love how heartwarming it all is. I think it's
Marlon Wayans what they originally wanted him to play someone in this film.
Oh, really?
I bet it was Sanka.
Probably, yeah.
Wait, because they wanted who's the guy who plays Blade? They wanted
Wesley
him.
Snipes.
They wanted
Wesley
him.
Snipes.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him in this.
Wait, Wesley Snipes as
Yeah, I
Yul
don't know
Brynner.
either.
I could imagine him as Yul Brynner, to be fair.
Oh, actually, yeah, maybe Yul Brynner, but no one else.
They wanted him as Yul Brynner.
Yeah.
And yet Marlon Wayans is Junior.
Oh.
It's Junior, really. I could have seen him as Darius or Sanka, but not Junior.
No, for them, they wanted Denzel Washington as Darius, Eddie Murphy
Oh,
as
What?
High hopes, man.
What the hell?
Denzel will have time for this.
Well, now all that means is there's going to be a Cool Runnings remake, and I'm like
Oh.
really hyped for that.
Oh, what, you know what they
Hey,
can call it?
why are
They're all
you
a bit old
hyped
now,
for
though.
a remake?
They can call it Cooler Runnings.
It's Cool Runnings, yeah.
Too cool, two runnings.
Yeah.
Too cool to write.
Um,
Uh,
Yeah, there you go. Oh man, John Candy was the only one who was considered who they wanted to be or envision in the original cast. So everyone else was different, and I
I don't
think
think
one of the
anyone else could have played
reasons-
that character.
Huh?
I don't think anyone else could have played John Candy's character because it's so believable that he's a good guy who fucked up. And, like, it's-
very much. I mean, I think with Denzel and Eddie Murphy, apparently the main reasons they turned it down were because the pay. Apparently they
Fair.
weren't much for this film, so I guess the budget wasn't that good or wasn't good enough. I don't know about the others, but yeah, we almost got a very different cast for this film.
Jesus.
So, you know, when you were saying about it starting off as a serious drama, it did make me think of that other film that Denzel Washington did. I can't remember the name of it, but it's about an American football team.
Oh, I can't remember the name, but
Remember,
What was that, Pat?
remember the Titans?
Yeah, that's it. Remember the Titans. That's another Disney film, yeah.
Remember the Rumble.
no wonder they were.
Remember they fired Mike Vrabel?
You're really
I don't
cutting
think
out tonight, Pat.
Ah, my internet's fucking shocking.
Oh,
I was about to say, as a resident sports fan, do you wanna weigh in on?
I mean, Rob is as well.
Well, all right.
It was my first time watching it, wasn't it? So, like, Rob is trying to get me to watch it. I was like, yeah, okay, and I never did. Just because he used to compare me with John Candy for some strange reason.
I just think you've both got like an endearing energy.
But no, like from the moment the film started, I don't like. I didn't even know it was based off anything real. I thought it was just something made up. And this is my kind of film. Like when I was saying to you guys last week, more films like. I was like, oh, even more. Like, no, it was very much the stereotypical comedy film that I'd sit there and enjoy, and probably, but it happened to be my first viewing. Like there was that they're laughing at, and like Rob talks about like and eat a pizza watching. That's literally what I did. I was gonna watch it when I was away. I was like, I can't be bothered sitting in front of me. I'll wait until I get home and watch it on the TV. And no, it was a nice way to spend back in the country.
That was nice.
Seems to be an awkward silence now.
Does anyone want to know what I think? I know you don't.
You think?
Nah,
See you later.
Skip. Bye. I'm joking.
What do you mean, no?
Was it too silent?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, I think this was genetically engineered to be like a sports comedy film. Like it's just, yeah, it's basically like perfect at what it's trying to do. But yeah, like basically like, well, that's it. I have like not one problem, but I've got like there's sort of like a nexus point here. But yeah, I enjoy that the characters are basically the Ninja Turtles.
that's a good point. I didn't really
Oh, I never thought of it that way. John Candy still.
I think it was just when they were like standing together and like one of them had that, yeah, like your Brenner's got his back to everybody and like, yeah, just I was just like, hey, check out the Raphael. Oh, hang on a minute.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a good little film. I think there's two kinds of people in this world. There are people who love Cool Runnings, and there's people who haven't seen Cool Runnings. I've never encountered a single person who has a bad thing to say about it. Which will make me the first, I suppose. But yeah, no, it's got a decent sense of humor and like yeah, like I was really disappointed to find out like just that the guy was like, yeah, we crashed the bobsled, and that's sort of the only bit that they included. So,
when we were watching it, me and Rachel had this conversation about how much actually happened. And when they crashed it, Rachel was like, "See, that did happen," and I was like, "Yeah, but only that."
it's like some bits where like he's just going a little like when his dad's in the crowd and he like goes and he's like just pulls out and he's wearing their shirt and I'm like, I don't know, right? I don't know. I don't.
You gotta
That one's
have
it.
the classic.
It had to be there, and it was very well. I think that's the thing that stops this being like an American gangster sort of situation. Like the story that it the story that it made up is still like good,
Mm.
and so like you can't really like so you go like that. Yeah, not a lot of it actually happened, and you're like, oh, actually, most of it didn't happen like this. And it's
Yeah.
like I can't be that mad at it because what they replaced it with is really, really functional. So yeah, and if you want to have a good chilled evening with the family, whatever, yeah, Cool Runnings is you're probably safe. Yeah.
And that's the thing, like if you were part of that team, I can imagine watching it and being like, "Oh, that's a shame." Like, I don't know Sanka.
That's the bit that makes me just go like, oh, because I'll be like, oh, I guess who's who, and then you're just like, I guess we weren't as interesting to actually make a film about.
None of us were named Yul Brenner.
I happen to think we're interesting people who did an amazing thing, but you know, like I guess Disney don't think so that's fine.
It's a weird one because I swear in the film it says based on a true story, but I think in some places it says inspired by a true story, which I would say is more accurate. But why did you have based on anywhere in the stuff?
I think when the guy who the story's actually like about is going exactly 1% of this is true, you kind of like I guess we just kind of made it up then. It's
Yeah.
not really. We based it off of a Jamaican bobsleigh team, but we didn't involve anyone who actually did it. Like,
Yeah. I mean, one thing that's quite interesting, actually, that another thing that's true, but not about the real event. As an aside, I really like the Simpsons quote. Someone pasted in the chat.
some mystery, man.
Yeah, based on a true story. But for people involved, most of this was made up. But most of the songs used in the film, like I think most of the Jamaican songs used in the film were from the musical Rasta in the Snow, which was a musical on its own that was based on the Bob theme. So they took some inspiration from that as well, which is cool.
That's a really good title for anything.
Rasta in the Snow. Much better than Cold Buttocks.
Cold buttocks certainly doesn't mean peace be the journey.
Yeah, man.
Who
I love it. Reese is just like, we're gonna call it Cool Buttocks, and then John Candy goes, what does that mean? And he's like, you fucking think you're right? It means my bum's gone.
I'm just like, who thought that was a good idea? I'm so confused. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it made more sense in their language and culture at the time, but maybe when it translates, it's just like, yeah, this doesn't quite work. And I'm sure there's plenty of things in different languages like that.
Showing up to a cinema and going, let's all for Cold Buttocks, please.
I imagine it was probably like some Disney executive in Norway being like, "No, we're European. We don't do metaphors. We need literal."
They will be on their bums on a cold tube. They will have cold buttocks.
Oh, man. I think in general, I think obviously we talk about how so little of it was true kind of thing, but some of the things that they kind of got wrong in the film, or just like blatantly did wrong, I guess, to make it feel more, I guess, dramatic and kind of like different as a film in it and of itself, rather than actually being any kind of like, oh, this is based on real events kind of thing. It's just like how, oh yeah, Jamaica's the first tropical country. It's like, no, it's like the 11th or 10th. Like the Philippines was the first, like 16 years before this, and many other islands got before you.
See, that's something that I was kind of like, I don't know. It's one of the very few things that I don't like about it. It's just that how they all sort of like treat the whole thing about Jamaica having a bobsled team, because literally everyone's like, ha ha ha, Jamaica in a bobsled. And it's just like, I don't know. Everyone thinks it's really funny, and I'm like, well, it's unlikely, but it's not like that absurd. It's-
Yeah, especially at the time. And what, well, like one of the things I found out, which I was glad about, was how like when they did in 1988, like first go to the Olympics, they were welcomed warmly. Like no one made fun of them or like badgered them or any kind of thing. They were like, "Oh, nice, you've joined. Welcome to the crew." Blah 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 blah. It's like they didn't have that kind of antagonistic kind of stuff going on, which is just
Are
good.
you telling me none of them got in a bar fight where they were smashing bottles over each other's heads? Are you telling me that bit was fiction? Are you telling me that bit was just there for a stupid Looney Tunes section?
Yeah,
that bit was there
Yeah,
because
that's where my impression broke a bit.
that was because a Disney executive went, "Oi, we can make a communist the enemy here."
Of course.
Who shall be the adversary team? I know. Let's make it Germany because we're really
that's
Specifically East Germany.
We'll make Switzerland the neutral party naturally.
just slip that in there. Yeah, I didn't think of it like that, but that's a very good point, especially at the time. Yeah, that's close. But yeah, I think there's a lot of little things like that. I was just like, trying to think what else. Like, is this other stuff you can remember, Rob? That's or anyone that's quite different that you know of?
Oh, what is in what they changed?
Yeah.
I think it is literally everything except for them. Like I don't think John Candy's character even existed, did he?
No, like, oh yeah, that's another thing. Like, they didn't have to. They weren't in, I said, destitute situation, raising money, and all that kind of stuff. They just did the normal thing of like, okay, we have a board. Um, let's go to our sponsors and get some money to raise for it, and that was it. It was standard, boring, run of the
It's
mill.
cinematic.
To be
Exactly.
fair though, imagine that film where they just go, "Oh, we're going to make a bobsled team," and then the athletics board goes, "Oh yeah, that sounds all right," and then they go to the Olympics and everyone's like, "Oh, cool, Jamaica's here."
It's just very, very supportive.
Just very. Hey, cool. One of
I
the
like the idea of them like pitching this film and like the 4 guys who were in the team are going, "It wasn't that interesting."
there was also there were like 10 guys and a few other people as well. They had backup sleigh people, backup bobslayer. Sorry, I said sleigh people, and
People of Slay.
and because obviously you need backup people, but you also have the 2-man events, the 4-man event. Is there a 1-man as well? Or just
Imagine that. I don't know, to be honest, but that sounds terrifying if there is.
I think there's 2 and 4. I don't think I'm not sure if there's another one, but we can always figure out later. And so yeah, they had like 10 people come, so they had no danger of being like, oh, we don't have enough people to like compete. Also in the film, if they didn't have 4 people, they could have just competed in the 2. They they didn't, like, there was no danger.
This film's a sham.
Or else we can't compete. You can't compete in the 4, but you can compete in the 2. You can still compete in the Olympics. It doesn't really matter.
That would be another just hilarious one. It's like, if Junior goes home, we can't compete. And it's like, in the 4-man event. In the 2-man event, you're still fine. Oh, okay. Phew.
That would have been heartbreaking though, if like the whole crux of it was them going, "Sanka, I suppose you're probably the one who's sitting this out then."
Oh man, I could just imagine Jules' character being like, "Oh, and Junior doesn't have to compete. Okay, cool. I'll just take the money. Thank you very much."
Thanks, Junior. You ruined it all for us anyway.
Oh man. And another kind of random, I just remembered, fact. They at the time in the film they said, or the character in the film said, yeah, Jamaica's only in 3 Olympic events, like track, boxing, and something else. And it was like they had like 5 were in before this. Because
they,
they
they
did.
do make out that like Jamaica is much smaller of a deal than it is.
I was just like,
Jamaica? Who's heard of Jamaica? I mean, really.
'cause they did table tennis, which I think in a way explains probably explains why my dad's a really big fan of table tennis. If he grew up with it being an Olympic sport in Jamaica, and a lot of people actually like competing and qualifying for it, that probably would have been something that inspired him as well.
Fucking hell, I wouldn't want to be against your dad with table tennis. He's very intense. He'd like just be in my soul. I'd be like, you know what? You just have it. I'm fine. I don't need to win.
Like, yeah, I think he is pretty good. But
I believe
and
it.
oh, man, thank you. And they did wait. Makes sense. I mean, I could imagine Yule doing weightlifting, to be honest. Like going into that category, just going, you know what? Let me do this. Also, you did have cases of people, I don't think it was necessarily unheard of. I don't know how common it was at the time, but you did have people who would occasionally do a summer Olympic sport, but also do a winter Olympic sport. So they do 2 different disciplines.
That's
And
kind of a thing of the past now, isn't it? That used to be quite common.
did it? Because I think there was a hurdler that was really known at the time who did it, and then someone else. I don't know what other sport they did, but yeah, I think there was a sprinter and a hurdler who were really known at the time, who did like they did run in sports, but they also did bobsleighing, like specifically. Just pretty cool. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that I'd like really change about it is that whole thing of like I think it probably would have come across better if rather than Jamaica being the joke, like Sanka was more of the joke. Because it's
Yeah.
like the whole idea is that sprinters are pushing the cart, but it's like what's Sanka here for? He's literally got a lucky egg. that's all. That's the only reason
He was there to
he's
be the driver, and then
and
John
he wasn't
Candy
even
went,
the driver.
you're not being the driver.
Like, so the guy, but I should be the driver. And when he said all that stuff, I do like that scene when he was looking at like Darius and saying all the stuff that the driver's responsible for, and then Sanka, you want that responsibility? Nah, you know what? I'm okay. The back.
Well, I think that's the thing because it's like because where everyone's just going, oh Jamaica, this is ridiculous. Like I would have preferred it if it was like how have you done this rather than it's ridiculous that you're here, so that John Candy could be like, yeah, we just had a mountain road, we had a push cart. Like it's
Yeah.
I think the when you said about the reality of what actually happened, I was thinking about that episode of The Simpsons when like they're doing like the football team, and Lisa's like, "That's right, a girl wants to play football. Now who's gonna be against me on that?" Ned's like, "No, it's fine. We've got a girls' team already. There's three girls over here," and she's just like, "I need to go."
Oh man. Oh yeah. Another thing. Um. The bobsleigh. Like, so they didn't have to struggle to get a bobsleigh. But it was true that like I think one of the committee's friends was just like so happy that they like joined, like they was able to come to the Olympics. They gave them their backup sled. Just like, oh
It's
man,
hilarious again.
have this, like just have it. Yeah, we're so happy here.
Every single bit of this.
that
We've
is
had
one
to-
bit that makes me laugh actually is when they give the sled a paint job because I'm like the rest of Rocket didn't look anywhere near this.
That, to be fair, actually, I blame the more you're telling me about this, the less I blame Disney for sort of like just amping the drama up a little bit because there doesn't seem to be a lot of drama involved.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think, like, I don't know. I guess ideally you need two films where, like, one's more sort of historically accurate, so that the people involved, they see their own story, and then this. Like, I don't think it's bad that they changed a lot, but I do think it's a shame for the people who were involved.
Even then, like I'd go like, did we have a lot of problems? Did we have like were the German team dickheads to us? Did we get in a big fist fight? And I was like, not really. And it's like, I
Yeah.
get it. Maybe, yeah. If we didn't receive that much opposition, I guess it's not that exciting to watch, is it?
But yeah. And I'm glad, kind of like I think you said Alec and a few other people. I'm glad that they made it like so different and made it also into a comedy. And because it's so like I say so different, because it's even though it's so different, because it's not like trying to take it seriously like American Gangster, it's like you said, it's more forgivable. Even though the stuff you wish was a bit different, it can still be treated as its own, as a nice, endearing, heartwarming film, and that's not really ruined by it. But if anything, like in this case, for me anyway, it makes me laugh when I'm here like, wait, what actually happened? This is well,
This is
Still
the thing. Like, I think my main problem with it is when they go and have the bar fight, and I'm just like, fucking hell, okay. So like, the first thing that Junior does is hit someone with a bottle when they're not looking, and I was like, oh, okay, that's attempted murder. And then he gets hit with a bottle, and I'm like, oh, that's actually really dangerous. Like you can very easily get killed by like that. And then so like just that happens just in general. I'm like, I don't know. That's immediately what made me go like, I don't think this is the true story that it made out that it was. but like, okay. And then, yeah, and then they just get back, and John Candy's like, no, it's okay, I handled it. I told them all you were mentally disturbed. And I'm like, that's not really a. I don't think that really. I think that just happens, actually. I don't think they just let you walk away with that. But then I was like, also, why didn't the German team, if they're like, if everyone's like that opposed to them and everyone's like, fuck Jamaica, like, oh god, that's going to get clipped out of context. But if everyone's already like that, like, wouldn't the German team like try something? Just kind of, even just think about it. Like, should we try and just make life difficult for them? Should we like, you know, try and make it seem like they threw the first punch? Well, they did, to be honest. But you know, I was just kind of
Yeah, I
like
see
that.
what you're saying, yeah.
You think it's just a huge, unbelievable thing happened, and they just kind of went, no, I didn't. And it's like, well, okay. I'm fine with you doing it, but like, don't you need to kind of have actual consequences for it happening.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but I don't know. I think like someone said it was probably just like, or Rob or Ben was like, just like a Looney Tunes kind of bar fight, and then Sanka's in the end just like yippee or whatever, and just jumps in at the end. And it's like, what's going?
That's the thing. It's a funny scene, but yeah, I'm just like, don't know, at the cost of what exactly. I
At the
think if you
cost
didn't
of
have it, there, I could have gone like, hey, I believe this. Like, I'd have been more shocked at it when they were like, it's actually not a true story at all. And I'll be like, whoa, okay. But when I found out, I was just like, yeah, no way they did that.
another thing I just remembered. Another kind of thing is like, what? That wasn't you? Uh, I mean, I don't know much about bobsleighing at all. I've only watched it like a few times at the Winter Olympics. Seems really cool. Seems very scary. I think the film does do a good job of making it seem as scary as it is. Like like hurtling down in that way, like in that kind of thing. That's nothing for the faint of heart. As they say,
Mm.
it's freaking freaking.
I did love the little projection thing that he has. And he's just like, the thing with the bobsleigh is you don't actually break your bones in it. You shatter them. I was just like,
That's a great scene, actually. That's really cool.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, another one is where so putting weights in your sled or weighing down your sled is not illegal. That's put as a whole thing
what
for
is this
in,
film?
so in sledding, it's quite often so to compete, your sled has to meet a minimum weight. However, quite often you get teams who like together with the team and the sled, they don't actually weigh enough. So sometimes they actually have to put in weights just to compete. And even if they're over it and they decide, you know what, just to be a bit safer, we want to put some more weights in, it's fine. It's not illegal.
Do you know what? I never considered it, but now that you said that, it does seem a bit silly that that would be illegal, considering you've got 4 body weights to consider. It's-
Yeah, what if
Yeah,
someone's
because
had a
that would
pretty
make
heavy lunch?
yeah, like what would stop you from just saying like, all right, our driver is going to be the biggest bloke we can find. Like, let's
yeah,
stick
you
John
could.
Candy in the sled. Just
Get in the front
You,
seat, fatty.
you would just be slower. It's like
That's so like, yeah, that went straight over my head. But now you've said that, it's like, yeah, why on earth would that be illegal?
what if I was like, interesting. Okay, so they just assumed people watch, and I think most people watch it probably wouldn't know. Yeah, huh? Oh, oh, she was saying you wouldn't be able to find out because pre-internet. So it's not something you would have easily been able to find out anyway. But it's just funny that they just said, "Oh, we'll just make this the reason he was found to be cheating or whatnot." I mean, they could have just said he was on steroids or something, but I guess maybe they didn't want to put that in the Disney film. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose again that would have been quite a different film if they were like, "Oh yeah, we got disqualified because you weighed down the sled," and then John Candy's like, "No, that was legal. I also took performance-enhancing drugs."
Like, don't
So
do drugs.
bobsleighing enhancing drugs.
An endearing, heartwarming film about bobsleighing, doing the best, and not taking drugs.
Substance
But
abuse.
I suppose in hindsight, well, I was going to say it's kind of weird that he never challenges everyone having the arse with him, but then I suppose that would draw attention to it being legal.
Have it.
So
That'd actually be hilarious if that was a plot point, though. Just when he goes like, "It's legal," then all of them go, "Is it? What the fuck?"
yeah, he could have stormed into that meeting and gone, "What I did was legal," and they were like, "Oh shit, was it?"
Hold on, John, we're so sorry.
I don't know why we stripped your medals.
We've banished you for years of your life. Oh
just
no,
said
John! We made a horrible mistake.
Oh, I could just imagine Bob sledding people and anyone who knows just watching this going, "Wait, why was he disqualified? That's not." Does
They're
any
watching it going, "Wait, could I be disqualified?"
Oh my god, that's funny as
Oh,
fuck.
man.
Surely there's a maximum weight though. If there's a minimum
be
weight, there's
honest,
got to be a maximum weight.
I don't think there's a maximum weight because at the end of the day, the more you weigh, it's in your interest to weigh as light as possible, but they have a minimum weight so that you can't be too light. Because the lighter I know there's going to be obviously some forms of physics, but in general terms, if they go like further than the minimum, like lower down than the minimum, they're just going to get better and better speeds. Obviously, it'll reach a cap where they can't get any faster. But if they're heavier, it's just going to disadvantage themselves. So they will want to put in weights that help them just about meet the minimum to get the fastest speed within the regulations. Just like how in F1, like they have certain regulations, and I respect F1 even more and more the more I find out about it. But anyway, like you have to like it has to weigh a certain amount, or they have to. There's certain things they can't go outside, to get a competitive advantage. So that's why there's a minimum but not a maximum, because the maximum doesn't help anyone. It just makes it worse.
Yeah, I suppose to be fair, like the idea would be where you position it so that you enter corners faster and that kind of thing, or exit corners faster. But outside of that, it's not really.
Yeah, true. It's also I assume like depending where it is as well, it changed how it drives and change how you have control, like what kind of control you have of it or whatnot. I don't know. I'm sure there's some video on YouTube that explains all the mechanics of bobsledding. But I what you said before, I did like that video with the projector. That was great. And how afterwards, like you just see so many people just failing really hard. And then you turn back and like no one's there but Sanka. And the only people left to come in, they come in late. I swear, Yule came in late as well, didn't he?
All came in directly after. And again, this is I don't know if I took one or the half point off for this one, but like Junior coming in that late, I'm just like, did he ever see that video? Because like he's a pretty skittish kind of guy. Like, did anyone ever like actually show him it? Because they were just like, I don't know. He's got a lot of fucking money, to be honest. Maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, he probably did see it.
It's like, oh, good thing
Probably-
he wasn't on time.
Yeah.
Good thing he
You
arrived
might-
just as it ended. Yeah, you wouldn't give a
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. He's like, I want to get off this island. But
That was
like,
shatter my
imagine
bones.
how it should have ended. Like he came in there in the middle of Junior came in the middle of seeing all of it go down, seeing all the stuff, and then left with everyone else and went to his job at Webster and Cohen or whatever.
Webster and Cohen. Webster and Cohen.
I think apparently that's a reference to an actual film. I don't know what film.
I don't know.
But they're like big housing place in Miami or whatever, like in some kind of film.
All right.
Really random. I think there's like a lot of things like that in this film that I just don't know about. It's like, oh, lots just nods and references to random things.
Yeah, I think that whole bit where John Candy's showing the video, that probably is my favourite scene actually, because this I think it's set up really well. I think it looks really cool. But it's just like it's so funny, and it's just like it's perfect John Candy. Because I did the whole bit about the bone shattering, obviously, but I also love the bit when Yul Brenner comes in and he's just like Yul Brenner. It's just
Actually, do you think like a reference? Like, what reference do you think that is, or is it just his reaction?
oh
Like,
yeah, just his reaction to Yul Brenner's name being Yul Brenner, like it's brilliant. And it's this is what I love about John Candy, because like it would have been quite easy to overplay that reaction, but it's just like a sort of back of the mind, like for fuck's sake, there's someone in the team called Yul Brenner.
It's like you're assembling a team and someone's just like, I'm Bing Crosby. And you're like, oh,
You just be like, all right.
Yeah, it's like that. I miss my pal Frank Sinatra.
And that's the thing.
You
as well, like,
fucking what?
I think it's so funny because like you've got this guy who's like he's been through so much in his life, and he's finally putting together the team that he wanted to put together 50 years ago. And somebody's named Yul Brenner.
I think that's something else that I really, really appreciate with like that joke though. Because if it was like done today, you can tell that would have been every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But like they just kind of don't really linger on it. They just kind of do it, and then if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't. That's...
I really like the bit actually with like it's not really a Yul Brenner joke, but like it's the dynamic between him and Junior. And it's when Junior's getting involved in the song, and like they're all sort of picking up a line each, and then Junior's like, "Yul Sanka."
it was one funny point that my wife was pointing out was just like how they just perfectly freestyled, and like they had no real tune going on or beat, but they're all perfectly like going to the beats and making
Oh,
these.
do you know that's a point actually. Something that I think is a really nice detail. I don't even know if it's on purpose or not, but every time Sanka sings that song, he sings it slightly differently.
That's great. That's oh man. Oh yeah, another two more facts because I'm full of them today apparently. The what you call it? I'm almost
Bobsleigh.
forgetting it now. Sorry. So yes, yes, Rachel's right in that it did crash, and that the footage they used for most, like for pretty much, I think most of all the racing kind of TV footage was from the actual Olympics, in 1988. the reason it crashed was not due to a mechanical error.
No, wasn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it crashed due to them losing the driver or the team, I guess, because there's a team losing control at high speed.
Oh shit.
They were going they were going too fast, obviously, to try and beat the previous times, and they just went a bit faster than they could handle, and they lost control. Yeah.
So the original driver watching it would have been going, all right, well, I'm off the hook. And then somebody else would have gone, you're also not named Darius. So
Just watching the whole thing and he's just like, oh god, oh god, oh god. I'm gonna be the guy in the football film that like scores an own goal. Oh no. I thought I was a
can't
bottle of
remember.
wine, Simon. Shit, hell.
Diet Coke? Right?
You're
You're on
muted,
mute, Simon.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, could I do a bottle of wine? Yes, absolutely. But like, no, this is like Coke. And like, you know, oh yeah, it's Diet Coke. That's why I say it's like Coke. But in any case, yeah. So I mean, like, this because of the fabrications of this story, we know that it's inspired by more than based on a true story. Just because I was just like looking, I'm doing work. I was just looking at some like facts about the movie as well. The only other fact that I read that was slightly like true is because one of the coaches, what's his name? I have it up here. Who went to like Jamaica. He actually saw that they were doing the pushcart rallies on pushcart derbies on Blue Mountains, and he was like, "Oh, hey, that actually does look like bobsledding," and that's like literally the only other like true facts that's about in this movie. It's like, oh yeah, the pushcart derby kind of does look like bobsledding. Yeah, that was like the only off comment. It's like, oh yeah, it does. I feel like it would translate well into the sport of bobsledding or bobsledding. I don't know. But it's like the point is like that's the only other true fact in this movie. Everything else, as we said, 1% of this movie is true, and that's the crash. But even the crash, I thought it's still not completely true as well. So it's like 0.9% of this movie is true. I was like, damn it.
Do you know what? I had like a little sort of, I don't know, like a little kind of argument with myself during the bit where they were training on the mountain road, because like I was sort of thinking 6 seconds in a pushcart is quite different to 6 seconds in a bobsled. I'm not sure one translates to the other, and I had to go, stop thinking that. just enjoy John Candy being happy.
I mean, it was funny though, and I thought a similar thing, but I was just like, it's just funny. I'm just laughing too much. And when it crashes into the police car, and then he just comes down, it's just like, yeah, let's go, and they just let him off the hook. Thinking back about that, I feel like in real life they probably would have like extorted him and said, well, you gotta pay money, or we're gonna arrest you.
To be fair though, Rachel's granddad was a policeman in Jamaica, and I could imagine him reacting in that exact way.
Well, great times. It's really annoying me. I can't remember the other thing I was thinking about or the other random fact, but it'll probably come to me at some point. Did you guys want to do favorite scenes or you want to talk about anything else?
His favourite things.
Oh, I don't think this is one of the things I actually was going to mention, but I found it interesting how the Swiss is random, but the Swiss bobsled team, in the actual Swiss version of it, the team over there was just like, these accents are off, so they redubbed it with actual like proper Swiss accents. Just like, well, fair enough. Blame you. But yeah,
Did like the aspect of Derice wanting to be that he wanted to like kind of emulate like the best that he'd seen. So it starts off as Heinz Weidrei, and then that's what throws him off the first time they do it. So
Yeah.
then they go with it. It's like the Jamaican chant, and like Sanka's. I think that's like the first time like you. I think that's like the little bit of like Sanka's arc where like Yul's like you're not going anywhere and you're really happy about it, but like Sanka's the one who actually like gets him psyched up and gets him like kind of in the right headspace, and that like they don't win without Sanka, and it's like I like that. I think that's pretty cool.
yeah, it's true. I was like, I do like that moment. Yeah. Hmm. Sorry, I'm still thinking about my favorite scene. Someone else can go.
I feel like Sanka is like the best part of this movie for his light-hearted like comedy bits, especially when he's in that ice cream truck. And something about him popping his head out from that ice cream truck and him seeing his dreadlocks like perfectly stiffened and him going snap. And I was like, something about him snapping a dreadlock off. It's just something. It's so perfectly cartoonish, but it's so well done in its cartoonish way. It's like perfect, like 10 out of 10 Disney moment. And I was like, yeah, that's definitely like, well, and all generally all the bits with him for his comedy moments. I try, even when he does do that stupid bar fight, and he does go yippee. That's why, because he was doing he was in a cowboy bar in Canada.
Yeah.
But like but he jumps in and says yippee, and I was like, that's so stupid. But because it's Sanka, I'll give it a slight pass.
Yeah,
But you know, that's it's like
Oh, saying that, another thing about Sanka's character, actually, this is the thing I had forgotten. Apparently, that was one of the only lines that was still in the final film from the original, like the first script. Like, oh, sorry, it's the like Sanka, you're dead, man. It's like, yeah, like yeah, man, like him saying he's dead. That's the only thing that stuck through all of the script variations. One of the only things, which I find interesting.
That's worthy though, because that so like the whole thing with Sanka saying yeah, and then at the end Sanka saying Derice, you dead man, and Derice being like no man. Every time I'm like, oh, I feel like I could walk a bobsleigh to the finish line now.
I think that's such a nice. I think like that speech he has, the John Candy does when he's telling him why he's he got banished basically, and he's like having the whole thing about how I know if I'm enough. And he's like, if you're not enough with the medal, then you won't be enough without it.
Yeah.
And then that's all kind of tying in and everything. And I was just like, that's really, really cool.
Yeah. He's such a good character. Like he's like I was saying earlier, like you do get the sense that he's like such a good guy, but he just made this mistake that's now defined him.
Which in real life isn't even a mistake.
Yeah. That was his downfall, is he did it in a Disney film.
I was just thinking, I've seen, and you probably, anyone here who's worked in the bookie probably has. I was thinking, we've probably seen people like him in the bookies. Like, bettors like made mistakes. It's just like they're here and they're betting, because this is what they've got.
Oh, do you know what? Actually, yesterday I was on the train up to London, and I was on the Elizabeth line, and this bloke got on, and he sort of made eye contact with me for like a bit too long, and then he like purposely hid his face, and I was thinking, like, what's his problem? Like, I must like know him from somewhere. And I was searching my mind, thinking, like, why is this guy making eye contact with me and then avoiding me? And then I realised he was the bloke in Ladbrokes who shut up the wall.
Oh, oh man.
I'd shut up the wall, mate. You know about it.
Yeah, him. Yeah.
I'll tell my dad about it.
Like, wait,
It's
what?
so funny because he looked so awkward, but I didn't clock it was him at first because he looks quite professional now. So he must have got a decent job or something.
Oh, man. That is something else.
Hopefully he'll watch this stream and go, "Oh shit, he noticed."
Not bad.
I hope that guy didn't realise it was me. Anyway, time to go on YouTube and just chill out. Maybe I'll just listen to some sort of stream. Oh no. How I feel there.
Another kind of reference they had in the name of the first horse that was not the one he betted on, Brewster or something like that.
Tumbleweed.
There's that as well, but no, a different horse. One of the ones in the race called Brewster. It was a reference to another film he was in.
Brewster's Millions. That's another great film.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but
That's with Richard Pryor.
how is it?
Yeah.
Cool. I think I know my favorite scene. I like a lot of scenes. I think I'll pick the one. It makes me almost emotional. I think,
Almost emotional.
yeah, this film's not the film to make you cry, but it makes me kind of feel. When they crash and you see all the people's faces, and then they get up and they walk to the finish line, and everyone slowly starts clapping, and I'm just like, yes.
Well done, Jamaica.
It's
That's
yeah,
gotta be, I think that's the closest I get to like just a little bit emotional. I'm just like, oh, and I'm like, I don't get there.
Oh, I do. It's when they first pick it up that I'm like, yeah, man.
It's a really good moment. It's just like, fuck yeah, that's great.
And to be honest, like the junior's dad opening his shirt as well, as camp as it is, it's like it's dad stuff in it. It's always gonna get me.
True.
yeah, that's great as well. Definitely.
I think the elevator scene's gotta come up. That's a nice one.
Oh, the with junior's dad.
Yeah,
I see a scared little boy.
I think just having like the elevator door keep closing,
Mm.
and then it's only until he's like, I'm fucking staying here, and then it finally actually closes. I think that's pretty neat.
Mm.
Yeah, I like the little scene before that with Yul Brynner and Junior as well. Like it's another one that's quite camp, but it's nice to see them start off with Yul Brynner just being like, "This bloke's an idiot. I don't want to spend any time with him." To then like pumping him up in the mirror.
Yeah.
Could you have phrased that worse?
Yeah, I was thinking that as I said it, but I thought if I linger on this for too long.
I see a badass one.
I mean, it was Disney.
No, I kept
I think
thinking
That was
during
my
that
favourite
scene,
scene.
I fucking knew you'd love that scene. All this time that
So
I've been
that
recommending
scene-
this to you, I've been like, yeah, this is Pat's scene.
That scene in the mirror, then leading into the bar brawl, I fucking loved. That was that whole film. It's like he's getting pumped up, and then he sort of goes out, Junior goes out, and I think halfway is. I don't think I want to do this, but fuck it, I'll do it anyway. Oh, it felt very, very Disney. Felt cartoonish in a way, which is probably why I liked it so much. But
That's the thing,
I
though,
also
like,
feel
Sorry.
Hmm?
Sorry, I
was gonna
talked
say, I
too
think-
freshly.
it sort of started the change of, like, he was a bit of a. He didn't seem quite a team member at the time, and then when the whole fight happens, it sort of brought them all.
It's
Yeah.
do you know what? Like, because you love this so much, Pat, you should really give Ted Lasso a go because I think you're going to love that even more.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe when it's not so popular.
Maybe when it's what?
Not so popular.
When it's not so popular.
Oh, don't worry about that.
Oh,
It'll always be
it's
popular.
the thing that's been putting me off.
Like, you're gonna have to wait 50 years really for it to be forgotten.
It's really good,
Uh,
man. You'll really like it.
What we'll do, I'll watch it, I'll say it's shit, and then that'll give you the impetus to go and watch it.
Oh, we can fast track that. It's on Apple TV.
Oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh,
Absolutely perfect.
Oh, no. No, Pat. He's frozen.
It's frozen.
Oh. For a moment, I thought all of you were frozen. I was just like, wait, is it just me?
We've now got to change Pat's name to Cold Buttocks.
Code buttocks. Oh man, his internet's really gone.
It's gone.
No. Oh, man. But,
I worried that was your foot, but anyway.
he just likes showing us his feet. Yeah, that whole
Thank-
that
I was just going to